Hey, this is Angela with This Week's Living the Shift. So, we're into this new world, a new age, and it's amazing. And there's all the stuff that's going on, and we've talked about, and I know to many it's not amazing, it's irritating because there's a lot of stuff that's irritating and going on. But what's the key moving into this year? What's the key moving into this new age? That's what we're going to talk about today. We have gone through, from my understanding, we have gone through a number of iterations of building ourselves up from scratch to this point of remembering our divinity, because it's been part of this game, right? This cyclical game. And every single time we have fallen to the wiles of the ego. We have fallen to command of the ego and letting it take over. And instead of following our hearts and living from our hearts and in connectivity as one, we have lauded the individuality of the ego, the accomplishment of the ego. And then what's happened is we've done mutations, we've done stuff that really was not for the highest and best for all of us. And so we have cycled around and done this several times. Lemuria, Atlantis, ancient Egypt. There's a whole bunch of other ones too that I don't even have the names for. But so here's the thing. I have so many people ask me this. Well, if we've done this a number of times, what is to say that we're not at the same place at the same time, that we're going to do the same thing all over again? You know, crash ourselves back into the ocean or totally demolish ourselves in some bizarre, crazy kind of way, and instead do it the right way this time. So that is a good question. It's a great question, because it's what actually is scaring a lot of us at a very deep level of our consciousness. Because every time when we have these allergies, right? So there's so many allergies prevalent today. You know why? We're going into this mutation. We're doing these genetic mutations on our food. We're doing genetic mutations on our animals. We're doing genetic mutations, period, that without even looking, we're doing stuff without even looking at how it affects the whole, how it affects each other. And so what's happening is there is this deeply embedded consciousness of, oh, no, we're not doing this again. We did this like number of times, and actually pretty much every one of us who's here has been here during one of those times when we've fallen before, because this is basically why we've come back. We've come back full circle to say, we are going to do it differently this time. We are going to attain our purpose, our goal, complete the lessons here in this existence of duality, and move into the next game, so to speak. I call it a game. So many people say, so you're saying it's like a game? Yeah, that's pretty much what it is, because we're eternal, we're always here, we've always been here, and so we always will be. And we create these different existences for different lessons and whatever. And so we've done this one really well, and we're done. We're done. And we had agreed, my understanding is, we had agreed we knew we would get so deep into it that we would lose sight of the bigger picture. And so we agreed that we would rip off the Band-Aid when it was time and just resolve everything really quickly, instead of sliding our way out of it and then moving on to the next one. So the key, though, here's the key. The question on everyone's minds, even if it's not a conscious one, is how are we going to do this differently? And that's really the key. The key is actually to have that conscious in our mind of, how do we do it differently? How can we do it differently this time so that we actually get over this hump and get into this next game or existence? It's a much more pleasant, connected one. And we are sort of in that place of we're in that place of shifting right now. We walk through this doorway into this new world, and we're releasing all this old stuff, and we're still not there yet. We've got a period of transition time that's going to be really heavy duty, and how it affects us and how the results from that are going to be they're going to depend on how we do everything. So my understanding is the theme of this year, probably in the next 2 years after that, is how to change the way we perceive things, how to do things differently. And this goes down to every single thing, every task that we do, to purposely bring it consciously in our mind to think, how can I do this differently? We have done the rise and fall of the divine feminine. We have. I mean, it was a long time ago. We did. We've done the rise, and we've done the rise and fall of the divine masculine. And we've done and done and done. We've done the rise and fall of the ego. We've done and experimented with all of these different things. We have done the externalization of God and the divine. We have done the externalization of power and disempowered ourselves. So we are done. That's the key. Yeah, we've done it, but we are also done with it. Okay? The key is for us to come back to completion. And for us to come back to completion, which is actually we never left. That's actually a faux pas, because we've never left completion. We've just forgotten that we're complete. So come back to the understanding, the remembrance of completion and our own divinity and our limitlessness. And to do that, it's time for us to throw all the other junk out the window. Throw it all out. Everything, and start from scratch. Throw out what we believe is supposed to be. Anything that's supposed to be or should be or has to be. Throw it all out. Do it different. We have to do this way. I have to grow up. I have to have this kind of job. I have to live in this kind of house. I have to have this kind of family. I have to get married. I have to have kids. I have to. That's all the stuff that we've taught, and that's all ego-based, right? And that's all based upon this idea of some certain things are better than others and everything else. So wherever we have those lines in our mind that are creating those boxes of should, we have to, we must, we can't, we shouldn't, it's time to throw those away. So the way to do that, my understanding is the exercise for us is to look at everything, every single thing we do, and say, how do we do it differently? And instead of saying, okay, this is going to be the straightest line between 2 points, say, well, maybe this might look like the straightest line between 2 points, but what if I tried it? This is how I would have done it in the past. Well, let me try it differently this time. Or if you never did try the shortest line between 2 points, maybe try it differently this time. And this can be everything. How you do your job, how you approach things, how you approach problem solving in anything in your life. If you always react a certain way in a relationship, or you always act a certain way in a friendship, or you always act a certain way in your life, then you know what? Change it. Do it differently. Say, okay, for today, I'm going to do everything differently. Okay, try that. Or try for this week, I'm going to do everything differently. And instead of taking anything for granted, even down to how I, as a guy, how I shape my face, or as a woman, how I shape my legs, or how, even all the way down to how do I put my makeup on, or do my hair, or whether I do it, or how I dress, or how I go someplace, or how I do this, right? How I eat my dinner, when I eat my dinner, like what I eat, what I do. If we can take everything and put it in a basket for one day and say, okay, I'm going to wipe the board clear and say, how can I do this in a completely different manner? And it might seem really bizarre, but we will learn so much more. And you know why? Because it pulls us out of the old paradigm. It pulls us out of our old habits. And it gives us a different perspective on how to do things. And the more we actually get into the practice of doing that, the more we will actually push ourselves beyond what we have done again and again and again. That's the key. This time my understanding is that is the key, because we have done this a number of times. We have cycled around in the big scale a number of times, and we have fallen and failed miserably, although there is no failure, but we have basically blown ourselves up and had to start all over again a number of times. So now it's time for us to ascend. It's the ascension thing, and I've had people ask, well, what's the ascension thing? Well, the ascension thing is, did we pass all the tests? Have we learned all the lessons? Have we learned how to do that separation thing? And now can we release that, because we've done it for so long and in such an extensive way? Can we release that and come back to our oneness, come back to even our oneness within us? It's funny. I teach a modality that came into me in 2010. It's called Trinity energy progression, and it truly is a way to work within and merge all of the separation within us, all of the different versions of ourselves, all the different energies of ourselves back into one, so that we remember our full divinity and full abilities from the heart, and know that it all comes from within, and we don't pull it from any place else except from what's within us. And that's really what the theme is moving forward. The theme is, it is all us. I am sitting here, and I take full responsibility for this reality that I call mine. As all of us, it's time for all of us to do. So even the more out of context, and here's the other, little disclaimers. The key is to, instead of working from the mind, the key difference is how to do it from the heart. Okay, well, this isn't logical. Okay, logical comes from the mind. Okay, so if you hear yourself saying that or thinking that, stop, back up and say, okay, and ask your heart and say, so what is the highest and best for us? What is the highest and best path or option for us to try? And even if it looks completely ridiculous, if it feels like it's coming from your heart, if it feels like this is what the pull is, and you hear this voice, or you hear this, or you just have this understanding or knowledge of, try it this way, then try it. As even if it looks completely, like from the perspective of duality. If we look at it from the perspective of, oh, well, that can't happen. That'd be wrong. Yeah, we're throwing that out with the trash. It's time to just say, what does our heart say? How can we do this differently? Because we have done so much from the mind and so much from the ego that we are lost in it. We've gotten lost in it. So the key is here to go back to the heart and say, so how do we do this? How do we do this in the highest and best way? How do we do this with the most fun? How can I do this differently? How can I do this so it is going to be phenomenal for me and for everyone around me? And take it from there. So your homework this week is truly to look at, and if you do this, you take an hour or take a day and say, okay, so for this day, I am going to do everything differently. I'm going to put my socks on backwards. I'm gonna wear completely different kinds of clothes. I'm gonna wear my hair completely different. I'm gonna look completely different. I'm gonna act completely differently. I'm gonna step completely outside of my boundaries. And I am going to try stuff that might seem crazy on any other day, but what my heart is telling me to do. And I'm going to put no filters on in terms of that's stupid, that's crazy, that's illogical. Take a deep breath and try it. And again, it's if it's coming from the heart, it has to come from the heart is the key. And turning off the mind and say, okay, what is going to be our highest and best to do? How do we do this differently? How do I look at this in a different way? Give me a different idea. Just like try something completely out of the ordinary. And on that, I'm going to let you go and have fun with this. Enjoy it. And we'll talk to you next week. This is Angela with this week's Living the Shift.